Hello everyone, this is George A, and this is going to be a playthrough of Arkham Horror 3rd Edition from Fantasy Flight Games. There has been quite a lot of requests for a playthrough of this game that shows how an experienced player can win the game, especially on the first scenario. Now, there have been some YouTube playthroughs of this game, but generally they have been from people who have played the game like once or twice and generally haven't been very successful at showing how different strategies can be done. Now, I will be playing a 3-character solo game, and I specifically selected 3 relatively powerful characters to show how, if everything is going well and you use the right tactics and you have a good team, you can beat the game consistently. Now, of course, if you use characters that are a bit harder to play or a bit underpowered, you probably will have a lower win rate, but the same tactics can still be employed. This is the first scenario, the Approach of Azathoth scenario. I'm going to do a short intro and set up the game, and then I'm going to go through the various turns, and I'm going to be explaining my tactics and my choices and options. Now, Approach of Azathoth, I'm not going to be reading all of the flavor text. I think, if you want to read all the flavor text, you can pause the video and read the cards at your own time. Azathoth is generally the most straightforward of all the ancient ones in the various Arkham Mythos games, mainly because when he wakes up, generally he destroys the whole world, so there's less of a kind of brute force approach and more of a let's stop him from waking up. You can see that all our investigators start at the train station, and we have Calvin Wright. He is very well-rounded investigator. He has 6 stamina, 6 sanity, and he starts with the Spirit Dagger and until the end of time, and also you can choose to start him with the Dark Pact and the Voice of the Messenger, a special condition. And Voice of the Messenger is very, very powerful because it gives you kind of rerolls at the cost of a horror, and also lets you reroll on the Dark Pact, which means that there's a relatively low chance of it triggering during a certain game. I think it's around 1 in 20, maybe, like that. Marie Lambeau is the entertainer, and she is very flexible because she can give the whole party one action per round, and it can help other investigators do things, and especially with her intervene spell, because she can cast it to help somebody else pass a critical test. And Agnes Baker is the waitress, who effectively she's like a sorceress, and she's very strong spellcaster and also good at fighting as well, because she can start with Storm or Spirits, which lets her test lore in place of strength as part of an attack action. Now I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the various decks. I'm gonna pick 13 headline cards. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We'll shuffle the monsters. And now we draw the reserve. So what have we got? We have Liquid Courage, Automatic, Revolver, Mystic Tome, and Mystic Scroll. So we have a couple of casting items and some weapons. There's nothing too powerful at the moment, so we might want to try to cycle some back into the deck. What is next? Next we spawn 3 clues and we spawn 1 Doom token. So we spawn the clues from the top of the deck. So we have River Town, another River Town, and Northside. So the way it works is we will have 2 clues, River Town and 1 in Northside. Oops, wrong token. And so we will shuffle 1 Riverside card in the top 2 cards of the deck. Then the bottom one is going to go back, and the first 2 will be shuffling the other ones. So we know there's going to be 2 clues in the top 4 cards, and Northside goes together with the first 2. Now this is a little bit of a, it's a fiddly and much criticized game mechanic, but I think it's quite interesting the way that it sits the counter deck. So there's a clue somewhere, but you don't know exactly where it is. I know people that try to proxy this by using like randomizers, using like a dice effect, but I mean it biases the outcome a little bit. I think there's some analysis about how it works on Broken Geek with probabilities. Anyway, I think then the next step of the setup is spawning 1 Doom. Oops. I accidentally shuffled the deck. So the bottom one is going to be the Merchant District. I think the hardest thing on Tabletop Simulator would be to take the bottom card without shuffling the whole deck. And Doom is on the opposite side of the clue. So we spawn it to the on where there's Scar. So this is going to be the unstable location, and in this case is the TikTok Club. So we will go here. So we can see that so the TikTok Club is the stable location. I think I can find some sort of like marker, perhaps. I'm just gonna put this marker here to show that is the unstable location here. So before we start, what are the current priorities? So anomalies, archive 2. This just tells you that when there are 3 Doom in a neighborhood, in a space, or 5 Doom in a total neighborhood, and neighborhood is the whole set of 3 spaces, then there's an anomaly, and stopping anomalies from happening or kind of closing them as soon as they open is a very key part of stopping yourself from losing the game in this edition. And then Deja Vu is effectively the scenario card that tells you how to advance the scenario, how to take it to the next step. So we want 3 or more clues on the scenario sheet for the good effect, and if there are 3 or more Doom on the scenario sheet, then there's a bad effect we want to stop from happening. So at the moment, in regards to clues, there is 1 in our location, but there's 2 on Riverside, so we might want eventually to be making our way there, and there are a few cultists that we want to be able to kill if we can, because cultists in this scenario, you can see if there's a reckoning, cultists spawn doom, and these cultists are relatively weak monsters, so there's no point of not killing them if we can. So out of our group, the two characters that are better at killing monsters are Calvin with his Spirit Dagger and Agnes with her spell Stormer Spirits. So that's something we might want to consider doing early. And seeing the locations particularly. So one cultist is in the Black Cave, and that tests lore and will. So that means that we might want to send Agnes there instead of Calvin. And in the Independence Cave, it needs money and will. Will is not Calvin's best stat, but we might just want get something that lets us spend money to get items. And Marie Lambeau could just stay there and focus something and let somebody else focus, which can help them defeat the monsters. Okay, so I'm gonna save this as an intro and setup scenario, and I'm going to move on immediately into turn 1.